So were you always comfortable to say to somebody, yeah, I do this for you, it costs $500?
Nah, I'm not gonna. I'm pretty confident. Well, I'm always told that I'm more confident than others, I guess. But I definitely have imposter syndrome.
Right.
I definitely get like shaky or like I
Right.
hesitate. I can feel myself hesitate. Like just yesterday, I went over to Lancaster, but we ended up walking in and they're having like a team meeting, like a staff meeting, and they invited me into the staff meeting.
Wow.
And at first I'm like, oh hey, it's the people I know, and then I'm like, oh, I'm Elise, introduction, this is what I do. And then there was silence, so I was like, I guess I should. In my head I'm like, keep going. So say the next thing. We have the Last Supper coming up. They were all just still nodding. I'm like, okay. And then we're also doing this real estate accelerator. And they're like, I was like, so maybe you guys want to like fund something? And we left, and my girlfriend in the elevator was like, yeah, she was here. I was like, what happened? She was like, you did so good.
Make sure y'all follow, make sure y'all like, make sure y'all comment, make sure y'all subscribe, make sure y'all share, make sure y'all tell y'all mamas, make sure you tell everybody, cousins, baby mamas, kids. I told mine. Tell them come subscribe, tell them come watch, tell them come learn something. You know what I mean? Make sure you follow all the people who are on this platform. Make sure you check out their websites, their Instagrams. Make sure you check out my website, my Instagram. All that should be below, hotheads.com. If you're interested in advertisement, if you're interested in sponsoring, if you're interested in being on the podcast, reach out. You know what I mean? You can reach out by email, you can reach out by Instagram, you can reach out on the website. However way, reach out, let me know. All right, we back at another episode of the High Heads Podcast. Got 2 guests today. Super amped up to do this one. But I'm going to let them go ahead and introduce themselves.
Yo, what's up? My name is Elise. Super excited and happy to be here. Elise Ervis. I am the founder of Black by La Cultura, the owner of La Cultura. La Cultura, most people know, you're looking for a space. We got it. We manage a handful of venues, and the list is growing. But basically, if you're a creative, if you're an artist, an entrepreneur, looking to build community in multiple cities, like cross-state, regionally, definitely check out our website. Definitely tap in with us because that's definitely the wave. So we have events from Lancaster to York to Harrisburg, Philly, Baltimore, and more. And Black, building legacy and celebrating culture. It's BLACC. We work, it's the technical assistance, right? If you're looking to start a business, it's like, you don't have to go to college or university or anything like that to start a business, but there's definitely like a science to it that you're not gonna get unless you're like really seeking it. So Black provides all that technical assistance, the events, the workshops. It's like a virtual business center for entrepreneurs. So that's me. It's my girlfriend, my CEO bestie.
Thank you for having me today. Elise is my CEO bestie, and I am actually one of her rental spaces. There she glows. My name is Reginald Haywood. Everybody calls me Reg. I've been an entrepreneur now for 5 years, coming up in June. And I'm a second generation entrepreneur, Black beauty business owner. And I've been practicing that. That's like a tongue twister, Black beauty business. Hey. It's a real thing, and it's a different kind of culture. Growing up in a hair salon myself, Hairliners has been around in the area for about 30 years, 35 years.
My dad grew up in that salon when we were kids. My grandma.
I would wash your hair and scratch your scalp. I remember. Elise hated the salon.
We were just
you
there
were so
all
mad
day.
all the time.
We were there.
It was a long day. It was a long day. She hated it. And I could feel that, okay? So I wasn't really her friend up until we became business owners at the same time.
We moved back to Harrisburg.
Yep.
She was at some random thing. I was like, oh, friends!
I know you! Yeah. And so we both got laid off. We both got laid off. Fired from corporate America. And I would say that was my turning point. Because before that point, I kept applying like jobs after job after job after job, and I would see my friends that I graduated from college with get these jobs, and I'm like, why am I not getting a job? And so then that's where my entrepreneurship came from. When I got laid off, I was just like, enough is enough. I started There She Glows. It started out as just me being a solo esthetician, and that is also a credential that I have. I'm a licensed esthetician, and I got that licensure from the Atlanta area, moved back here, opened up the spa after being laid off, and then it grew to be something that I don't even know where it can go at this point. It can go any direction, in a positive way, really, because as we talked about kind of before we hopped on here, building a community of spaces, building a space where women feel heard, where they feel seen. I know with me being in corporate America, every single day I was like forced to shrink myself. Like every single day, things that I it was cringy. So when I opened There She Glows, I wanted it to be a space where Black women can work and they can feel like they can come in how they are. And I also wanted it to be a space where women begin, continue, and evolve into their healing journey. So heavy on the healing, heavy on the skin, heavy on the self, heavy on the soul.
Yes.
Okay, you talking that talk. All right, how long have you been doing what you do?
2018 is when we opened the doors at 214 Verbeck Street in Midtown. We started off literally, Third and the Berg is a thing in Harrisburg. Lancaster and York do First Fridays. Harrisburg does Third Fridays. Tries to do it, and you're right. So like when I mean try, like the idea is that businesses, like individual entities, have to invest into the concept, right? The community concept. I think credit is given to the Berg magazine for coming up with the tagline.
Okay.
And I think I was just one of the first people to consistently tap into it.
Gotcha.
Right, at least out loud, especially for Black and brown people, right? Because it's a certain a lot of spaces don't feel safe downtown in Harrisburg. Right. For me, I don't feel safe going into I don't even really remember the name. Maybe it's it's the one with the name that everyone was speculating over. Anywho, so Third and the Berg, we started off with pop-up. So the idea was that I was working for a financial institution, and they were lending to businesses, trying to lend to more Black and brown and women-owned businesses, and they realized that at that time it seemed like the most common thing that people were coming to get a loan for was space. So with that inside knowledge, I happened to stumble across unused space in Midtown, literally 2 blocks down from the Broad Street Market. Had been vacant, the commercial space, for over a decade. Wow. Almost a decade, something like that. And it's just, you wonder why. Like, it's 2 blocks down from the market. I guess I didn't wonder that long, because I just went ahead and jumped in. Right. I was like, I'm going to start with the Third and the Berg pop-ups, just assuming that people would also want to come use the space otherwise. And I tried a couple different ways. Like in the beginning, I was like, buy a monthly package, which means you could come and you could use 10 hours. You could spread them out throughout the month. That evolved. So that was 2018. That evolved to what it is now, which is now you can rent the space hourly. We have other creative and dynamic spaces like the spa, specifically for wellness.
So this is in there?
So now La Cultura is multiple spaces, right?
Okay.
214 Verbeck was one of them. Right now, we're doing some construction and some strategic moves around that. So that's not available for rent right now, but we have
the spot that's downtown. Are you talking about that spot?
No. So the other venues we have right now are, and then I was just speaking to like the fact that we didn't have space. There was nowhere Black and brown people could fellowship and like squat up without it being like, I need to call the cops. Right. That was something I even dealt with, like unnecessary cop calling. Right. Friends of Midtown, YPOC, they all, and neighborhood organization of Shipoke, they all wrote letters to their residents to request to call 311 instead of 911 when it's not an emergency. Like you see too many Black people who are playing music.
Right. Having fun. Having fun. And you're upset.
Right, like people would call the liquor control board because supposedly people would leave my events and go urinate or do like drunken things.
But there's 3 bars within that block.
Right.
Boom. Shady McGrath, there's I don't know the other two, but there's literally 1, 2, 3 bars.
Owls, Shitties and Owls. So I knew it was a need, right? Space is definitely a need. I mean, you already know, like,
absolutely.
So we need a space to be. So yes, we're monopolizing on spaces, and now beyond just like managing the spaces and like being the janitor, being the designer, the decorator, the host. Now my goal is to work smarter. So I use a network of systems, like web platforms and apps and things like that, to actually manage all of those venues' booking sites.
Right.
So we automate the whole process. You don't have to call and wait for someone to call you back. You can know how much it costs before you call. Everything's on the website. You can book in the middle of the night when no one's available, on a Sunday when people are answering their phone. You can see the availability right away. All those things. And you can see kind of like that, that's really where I like to constantly think about how can you own the next level, like ownership at the next level. So for me, I'm really excited about the amount of data that we're about to intake, right?
Wow.
All these people who are running spaces, all these Black and brown businesses who are starting. So hopefully, I was just in Lancaster last night talking to some artists out there, some young men of color, and they were looking for that. They're in York and in Baltimore. They're looking. It's easier to find spaces in Baltimore and things like that. But a spot like this for them to pull up to too, like that's what's happening. That is literally what's happening right now. It's a new subculture that's emerging.
Right.
They want networks, pockets of networks.
Yes.
Like if I want to go to New York real quick, I don't want to have to search online on Google to find a place that is, like we talk about, culturally competent, like culturally sound. That's not going to be up my ass about things that are cultural. Like, so, but still highly professional. You know what I mean? Highly professional and safe. And then also, like you said, automated. So that we're all moving in that wave where if I don't have to answer the phone because I'm in Barbados or like I'm just somewhere else. It's
also a business, right?
It's also a business. It should run itself. It should be self-sufficient. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I guess, all right. So how did the transition happen? Because you say you started this way and you're doing something completely different now, so how did that happen?
Word. So pop-ups, people are running the spaces, events. Then at the time I had been working at Startup Harrisburg, which is now called Pursuit. It's a co-working space. And the company I was working for, they had a location in Lancaster as well, and it was very much open space. They had just remodeled their offices. So I was already falling in love with the idea of co-working and like what that did for me as far as like being able to tolerate a job or tolerate doing work that I don't like, tasks that I don't like. And so I was trying to market it that way, right? Hence the whole 10 hours thing that I was offering at first. But when COVID hit, it became much more appetizing for creatives, freelancers, and just the overall market of people who are working from home. It came a space where you could still be productive, safe, and not at home. I started going to WeWork. WeWork became the market of co-working just really had a surge around that time.
Okay. What was that called?
WeWork?
Yeah, what's that?
There's you can check out the Netflix documentary on how they went bankrupt.
Okay.
It's gotcha. WeWork didn't own buildings. They didn't own the real estate. It was a New York City based network of co-working spaces.
Okay.
It was this new non-traditional concept that no one's ever like really done at that scale. The idea of subleasing that, then imagine in the middle of Manhattan, Brooklyn, downtown Brooklyn, like these massive buildings that they would renovate into co-working spaces. Each floor, not each floor, maybe like 2 floors would be co-working, and then they would rent the rest of the spaces out. But like really learning how to use one space in a more dynamic and multifunctional, facile way.
Right.
So I was trying to increase cash flow, of course, for that reason. So I started trying those types of models, trying to put that out there. Yeah, and seeing other people's needs. Like, then, what's his name? Popped off. Dang, who's the guy that everyone knows for doing events? No, online. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Elise. How many like?
No, Nehemiah.
Yes, everyone. I feel like everyone knows Nehemiah Davis.
No,
everyone knows Nehemiah Davis, bro.
Man, listen, I'm a learning animal. Like, so
he is like, I don't know. He's a freaking Abu.
He definitely is in that space.
Yes,
okay.
right?
Yeah,
Yes. Okay. Nehemiah Davis, and there's another guy too, right? So then I'm listening to these podcasts. I'm like, wait. I think so. I don't know. I'm mostly only listening.
Okay. Okay. What you listen on?
Word. You already know. EYL, Social Proof.
Gotcha.
Those are the top two. Work Smart by Morgan DeBond.
I never heard of that one.
I know, because guys really only listen to male podcasts.
Yes.
That's a woman.
I think that's the thing. Podcasts are really mainly men.
Right.
I don't. Black Tech Green Money is another one.
I like
Will
that
Lucas.
one.
You gotta get into that one. Black Tech Green Money, but
I'm
Work
about
Smart.
to ask you about these afterwards.
But Work Smart. Morgan doesn't put out as much content as Nehemiah or Social Proof. What's his name?
David Shane.
And now he's about to move to Mighty Networks. We're using Mighty Networks. Shout out to Mighty Networks. Building community. It's a virtual low code app. That's another thing I
talk to me about Mighty Networks, because I keep hearing it.
I'm on there
Oh
too.
my goodness,
Talk to me.
I'll
It's
make
good. It's good.
Right. I'll make it for you.
Okay.
I am at the base price of $500. It's they call it low code apps.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mighty Networks, Gem Pages is a low code app.
Okay.
Shopify, low code.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I never considered Shopify, but maybe I have an actual class on Shopify that we're hosting on Thursday that I hope to learn a little bit more about how Shopify works.
So what is Mighty Networks?
So Mighty Networks is you can actually go to the Apple Store and download Mighty Networks, the app, right? And Mighty Networks then lets you come and build your web page, right?
Okay.
And it has subscription tiers that allow you to charge for courses, charge for events. It's the virtual aspect, right?
Lessons, groups. You can do subgroups within the group.
You can, like, if we're both a part of a Mighty Network, I can like message her directly. Whether she's in DC or Cali, like we can. It's a way to attract, magnetize subcultures together, but on
you have
app,
your profile
outside of
on
Facebook,
there.
outside of Instagram. It's separate from that. So it's really about like those niches, right? Mighty Networks is great if you really know your niche. Like if you know you have a niche, it's worth it. It's membership based, right? If you're trying to create someone, if you want to make them feel like they're a member of a community, you go to Mighty Network.
Okay, so this isn't like
Facebook page is a thing, but Mighty Network, like you might never really.
It's more intense. It's streamlined. It's like LinkedIn meets Facebook.
So it's a social network.
It's a social network, but it's for people. I have clients. My clients are like hippies. Do you know what I mean? They don't want to be on
whatever
the
top things
like,
are on Google. That if you search for something, those 5-10 things, you probably don't want those. We want the things that are like on page 11.
Yeah, they're not with the. They're like, I don't have a Facebook. I don't have an Instagram. And this is like, I'm telling them, you don't have to have social media to still keep in touch with me on a social platform, because you're not going to get the hoopla of logging onto Facebook. You're going to get exactly my content, exactly my events.
Okay, I got it.
Exactly
for example,
my verbiage, exactly my conversation.
Gotcha.
The most recent one I built was for a natural hair company in New York City.
Okay.
You think of the cosmetology world, they have to do 300 hours of education to even be able to take the test and get the license. So how can she do the class when it's COVID? How can she continue to scale her business when things like this impact it? Space-based businesses. So if you're space-based, you have a really niche community, you really need to consider something like a Mighty Networks to drive that in and build it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I keep hearing it. So
That's cool. Yeah, because social proof is moving to Money
absolutely.
Network.
I keep. That's
I've
how
been
I
on
heard
there
it.
Already there?
for about 3 years now. About 3 years. It's and that's the thing is,
for me.
but I really still haven't. I still haven't done my due diligence.
It's a lot.
It's
That's
a lot.
why, it's
a lot.
You have to have the time to allocate to it. It's
to
a
build
whole
it
thing
out
to manage.
That's why your $500 deal, y'all need to take that, okay? Because and I'm gonna have to take it too because the
Is this to manage it or just to build
it out?
Mainly the build out is the biggest lift.
The managing is tough. It's
a task as well.
That's why we need these interns.
Yeah, we've been talking about how can we go in on an intern. Like you pay him for 1 week,
I'll pay him 1 week.
I need some too, man. Listen, I do a lot. I was just talking to somebody about it the other day. I'm like, yo, I can stretch, but so far, yo, and I be, at
do
times.
You have staff currently?
No, not currently. I did in the summertime and stuff. I do appointment only now, so I don't really need.
Yeah, it's not.
You know what I mean?
That's how I am right now too.
So I don't need it, But this summer I will because me and my wife actually are expanding. So we're looking at spaces in Charlotte right now, and so we're looking to leave, and everything here is going to be automated.
Like by city, like by coast or whatever.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're still
not leave.
We're not leave.
Hey,
no. We actually do plan on keeping the house here and all that.
Okay.
Just heading out and automating everything.
That's gonna be my life too. Doot. Like I be telling people, like, listen, I'm gonna start dooting on y'all.
Absolutely.
Get a little in-law suite so we can pull up on your.
Absolutely.
I'm about to be doot.
That's exactly how I want to do it. And because it's so much more community out there, and I hate to say it that way, but I feel like I made a post the other day and I said, man, I think it takes the actual leaving for people to really
fuck with you,
to get it, for them, you know what I mean, for them to really I have a good community here,
even to sometimes really get yourself.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Very true. Like I feel like I only really became my full self when I left what people saw me as
here.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. I think for me, I know who I am. I go first because I've had been places and I've been doing business for too long. And
how long?
Yeah.
Oh my God, since I was probably let me see, I'm be 31 in a couple days. So let's say 11 years.
Happy birthday.
11 years I've been doing it. So
wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So full-time entrepreneur.
It's been about 2 years maybe 3 years when I wasn't. When I was still doing it, but it was like, man, in the beginning you figuring it out.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
You figuring it out.
You gotta do what you have to do.
This is my thing. If I'm working to build something. If you see me, if I ever worked a job, it was to build on something. It was I took that bread and it's like building. I never held on to it. So
I know people saw me serving at crawdaddies. I'm like, mind your business. Mind your business. Book your appointment.
About whether how committed are you? Yeah, it's just
book your appointment. How about that? I'm here to remind you to book your appointment. Here's your catfish.
Right.
You know what I mean? Bon appetit.
All right. I want to talk about what were those transitional moments like though? Because it's always getting fired. Okay, what about
lots and lots of ice cream, lots and lots of crying, sleeping.
So how did you transition those bad moments into good moments? What was that like?
Well, let me think back to this morning.
Right, I was like, I'm in a transition right now.
How about this? More specific, let's say this. Within I never can say the name right. Look.
Cultura.
I can't do it. I never could speak Spanish, bro. I never could roll my tongue or nothing like that. So, La Cultura.
Sure, yeah, that works.
All right, look. I'm sorry. That's the best I could do it. La Cultura.
Yeah, that's
good.
That was good?
Yeah.
All right, dope. So, what were those moments where it's like, man, I don't know if I can keep doing it like this. I gotta, what were the hard moments? Have you had those moments? It's like, I don't know if this is gonna work.
So the biggest moments right now, I'm your age, right? So I've had, losing friends, people who are really close to you, whether it's family, friends, or whatever, your intimate circle, tragedy happens outside where normally you would be able to just completely disconnect from your job. I'm not coming in at 8. I won't be there. You won't see me maybe for the next 5 days. I'm taking a period of time to grieve or whatever it is the case. But I think that recently, those big moments, it's like, dang, like you
I gotta keep going.
And I think what's held me down was the fact that I had early on automated a lot of my stuff.
Gotcha.
I didn't have to necessarily fully show up. I could hide behind whatever the system or process was. I normalized for myself as soon as I left my regular jobs. I'm not responding to your email same day. I don't do same day email responses. Absolutely. I said that's a hard boundary for me. Right. Like I had somebody I was working with who complained that I would send emails on Sundays, and I'm just like, well, just don't read it.
Get back.
I'm not expecting you to respond. This is when I'm working.
And don't text me and tell me that you emailed me the same day. Like I'm sure that it'll get responded to. Right. Yeah. And just things like that. Like I really lean on that. And then I guess people, community, a lot of what we're doing, right? I think the way that we're doing business it is more about the social. Not to say that it's more about the social than the profit, but I had someone ask me the other day, "Isn't it a nonprofit? You do nonprofit stuff." Yeah. And I was like, "Wait, what is nonprofits?" Right. I don't know. I volunteer on nonprofits.
We're making money.
It's an LLC, actually.
Literally.
Yeah.
And it's like people see that social impact, right? That's more so what we're doing. So people really so there's a certain grace that I think that maybe I was given.
Yeah.
And it's just honestly it's hard. To answer your question, I'm still learning how to cope. I'm still learning how to step away, to clock out, how to tell people, how to be comfortable being vulnerable and telling, just opening up and talking about it, finding safe space. Probably should seek therapy or something.
Right.
High key.
Yeah.
What about you? How do you
How do I deal with it?
Or, how have you not broken?
All right, I'm gonna tell a story. All right. Okay. So it was a story when I was 21. My first store, right? My first store was in the Harrisburg Mall, and I was 20. I was just turning 21.
Mind you, I want to just give context here. Him and I have only been in person. This is the second time we've ever been in person.
Right.
But I've heard about. I'm flashback. I immediately think of Darian.
Right. Yeah, that's my guy. Yeah.
Back in high school, Darian used to talk very highly, positively
that's
about
amazing.
You.
Wow.
Yes, always did. So that's funny. Okay, sorry. Back to
Thank you. So let's say back my first store. I had no idea what I was doing. Clothing store. And I used to just sell other brands. I used to just sell like a Sneaker Villa, how they have other brands. Mm-hmm. So it took time for me to figure out that whole system of how to get the brands and stuff like that. So I knew nothing about money management. I was not watching and learning from anybody. I wasn't even reading business books per se. I was reading more personal books about personal growth, but not really about the business. Mm-hmm. So I never was learning business at all. Mm-hmm. But I'm pretty sure before business, so I got into a situation. Basically, I was making decent money. When I was 20, 21, I remember my first month it was about $9,000-$10,000 first month. At 21, I was just like, oh shoot.
Okay.
Oh shoot.
Oh,
man, look, I said, this is what it is. So,
period.
Long story short, it does not stay like that.
It don't.
So,
but it's good when it's good.
Man, listen, I thought it stayed like that. I thought, man, we're gonna do this every month. It was just, okay.
It's only gonna go
7, 6, 4. I'm like, oh,
what happened?
So it just kept going, right? It kept going, and I didn't stop spending what I was spending, and I quit my job. I was not working nothing. Right. So I remember sitting in the shop one time, and I was real cool with the manager at freaking Journeys. Real close friends. You know Tiana? She does I forgot what she does. You probably know her if I can remember her last name. I'm sorry if you watch this.
The brunches? No, that's
I don't know. But so she came in the store, and my second son was about to be born, and I had another son, and it was just like I was sitting there and I'm watching it fail. I'm watching it fail, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. Like
everything's happening in real time.
I'm like, okay, a day goes by.
Mr.
I'm like, okay.
Crab swirl.
I'm like, yo, and I was like, okay. How about this? If I get new product, is it gonna make it? Yo, it was just sitting there. I'm just sitting there like, yo, what am I doing wrong? Like, and I remember sitting there having this conversation with her, and I'm like, yo, and I broke down in the store. I broke down, and I was like, yo, I started blaming God. I'm like, yo, like, why are you doing this to me? Like, shouldn't I'm out here trying to do the right thing. I'm super young in a mall, like, shouldn't I? Like,
shouldn't it be going good?
Yeah, like shouldn't the whole city should be in here right now. You know what I mean? So after that moment, I realized something super important. Nobody cares.
Yes.
Nobody cares. It don't matter how mad I am. It don't matter if I blame Harrisburg. It don't matter if my mom is on her deathbed. It don't matter if my kids. Nobody cares what's going on with Josh. So what I figure out, I gotta figure it out on my own. I gotta make it happen. And the other thing is, regardless of how I look at it, I'm blessed to be in a position to even be able to do what I'm doing. Like, for me to even say at 21,
I did this.
You know what I mean? I had probably like 6-7 stores. I had a lot of fails. Listen, I had a lot of fails.
But that W though?
Listen, I understand, and I got that. Other thing is, after failing so much, you feel numb. It don't even matter. It's like,
okay,
I know how to get back.
That is perfect. That is much better worded. I'm gonna use that as the definition of why I always say fail faster. Once you get numb to it,
right? It's like, okay, what's next? What's next?
That's all that matters. Like, it's like, okay,
we did it.
It's not working.
Now what can work?
Cool. We're gonna figure out what works. Like, if anything, go get a job and just pay for your business from the job. Build the business with the job money. If you're not making money from your business,
build something else.
Or just figure out this ain't for you. Go do something else.
What are some of the things you had to go and do? I had to go work I went and worked at a daycare.
I worked at warehouse, driving forklift.
Server.
Night shift. I remember this one time, man. I said, yo, I was driving. I was coming from Mechanicsburg. I worked night shift, right?
Okay. I'm
going across the bridge, and I'm like, God, man, I love you, man. I said, yo, I can't keep doing this, or this bridge and me gonna meet. Like, I know myself, and I know I'd rather.
This is what I'm supposed to be doing. There's nothing else.
Exactly.
There's literally nothing else. I don't know what else.
I'd rather go ahead and just, all right, this what it's gonna be, because if this is what it's gonna be, we might as well give it. We good now. Like,
I relate.
With me having that understanding, I'm not saying nobody commits suicide or none of that. That ain't what I'm saying. I'm saying that I'm going to make it happen.
Yeah.
Right.
At the end of the day, I'm going to make it happen.
That's the only narrative.
So yes,
it's gotta work or it's gotta work.
That's it, man. So yes, I've had to work jobs to build the businesses. I've had to, man, even like I remember when I worked, right, and I was like, all right, I can get this unemployment. If I get this unemployment, I'm gonna make them fire me. I'm gonna get this unemployment. And if I get this unemployment, I now got my time and money now. So I'm like, all right, man, listen, what's it called? Point it out. Man, I pointed out like I was late every day for like a week. I'm gonna make y'all fire me. And and they asked why. I'm just like, man, I had an emergency. It's eventually you have to fire me eventually, regardless. So, but yes,
ideally,
exactly. So that's how that happened.
Word. So creative financing.
That's it.
You gotta get creative, bro. Like everybody's always, how do they do it? How do they quit their job?
Creative. Okay. What you think this hustler just stopped hustling? You crazy.
Exactly.
You crazy.
Depends on how creative you can be.
Child, I got a job at the gym.
Absolutely.
Doing once a month. I do sound bowls.
Absolutely. You gotta make it happen.
You gotta make stuff happen. You gotta think of.
And you gotta charge for all that shit.
Oh,
like,
my
anything you're doing,
anything you do. If I leave my house, I'm charging somebody.
Absolutely.
Somebody's getting charged.
Absolutely.
Like,
absolutely.
somebody's getting charged.
That's a conversation me and my wife had. I was like, you know, like if you're going, you have your own location on whatever you're doing, right? You have your own location. If somebody wants you to go to their location, you have to charge a fee for traveling. It ain't gonna be a comfortable fee.
No.
Don't charge them comfortable
I'm uncomfortable.
fees. You gotta take chairs. You gotta take pain.
it's you might trip and fall.
Right. You're leaving your family. You're leaving your comfort zone. You pay rent for this. Like, what are you talking about?
Wear and tear on the vehicle.
Exactly.
Right.
Man,
when people want me to come to them, oh yeah, it's an extra. My services already are, and people in this area, like, sometimes they tell me I'm too high, and I'm like, no, you're not my demographic.
Absolutely.
I apologize, but you're not my demographic.
Right.
Like, but my services on top of that, I will charge an extra $200, $100 for
Right.
traveling, and it could be like down the street.
Right.
But it's again the fact that I'm paying rent somewhere where you can easily come to. You're asking me to come out of the space that I pay for and also bring all my stuff to you.
It's just so cringy to me when I hear other people talking about other people's prices, especially when it's other people who are business owners, because it's like, there's no possible way that you can tell me it would probably take you a few months not only to build out a mighty network, for example, understand what you could do with it, what you want to do it, how to apply it to your verbiage and to your mechanics, your systems. Like, there's no way that, like, how dare you? Like, no, I didn't go to school for this. No, I don't have a degree in this, maybe. But whatever that thing is, like, I'm the expert, right? You're gonna pay whatever I say. You're gonna pay.
Absolutely.
It's whatever I say it is.
That is.
Like,
That's it.
My one client always tell me, she was like, Elise, you always say, it's my price, it's my price, it's my price. Like, that's it.
That's it.
Have you always been that confident though? To do that? To be like that?
I would say you have been but that's because of the industry that you worked in prior to that. Banking, all of that. You just know the price. Like,
I think I undercharge though. I definitely always undercharge. Like, I started off, it was $50 an hour to rent the space.
Yeah.
And it sounds silly now.
Right. Absolutely.
But you know, there's some leeway when it comes to that. Yes, the idea you're a startup. No, you shouldn't come out the gate selling with your top competitors.
Right.
The top competitors in that industry are right. You have to take into account the market and analyze that and all that. But as our business grows, like, every day the price goes up. Every single day. So,
did you see gas? My price is up.
It's not what it was yesterday.
It's clearly no.
Yeah.
So
were you always comfortable to say to somebody, I do this for you, it costs $500?
Nah, I'm not gonna. I'm pretty confident. Well, I'm always told that I'm more confident than others, I guess. But I definitely have imposter syndrome.
Right.
I definitely get, like, shaky, or like, I hesitate. I can feel myself hesitate. Like, just yesterday, I went over to Lancaster and I was with my girlfriend. I told her we just doing, like, I'm kind of like popping up on them. They know who I am. Mm-hmm. I've done some of their stuff, so I know some of them know me personally. Mm-hmm. But we ended up walking in and they're having, like, a team meeting, like a staff meeting, and they invited me into the staff meeting. Wow. And at first I'm like, oh, hey, it's the people I know. And then I'm like, oh, I'm Elise, introduction, this is what I do. And then there was silence. So I was like, I guess I should. In my head, I'm like, keep going. So say the next thing. We have the Last Supper coming up. They were all just still nodding. I'm like, okay. And then we're also doing this real estate accelerator. And I'm like, I was like, so maybe you guys want to, like, fund something? Right? And then, like, we left, and it did go on for longer than I thought it would. And we left, and my girlfriend in the elevator was like, yeah! She was here. I was like, what happened? She was like, you did so good. I was like, which part? Right. And she was like, just the fact that you, like, really went in there and pitched. And I was like, well.
On demand. And that's
like,
how you gotta
I guess I did. Like, I guess that was that. It was that. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, in the moment, And I keep getting told that I'm good at sales. Like, my sister told me that. She's like, oh, you've always been good at sales. And I want to be like, bitch, what? No, that's not what I do. But
no, I'm good.
I guess
I can see your thing.
I think that is my niche. Like, I think that if I had to give out all the other tasks in my business to other people, I would probably want to keep with the sales. I would want to be really hands-on with the sales, with the pitching, right? And I mean, I guess that's, what do they say, the baby kissing and handshaking, right? Like, I should always be, I think that I'm in a position to where it will probably always be an advantage if I'm the face, if I'm the voice. On top of being a Black woman, I think that, I guess it's my personality, or my grandfather was he was actually the first Black Speaker of the House of the state representatives here in Pennsylvania. So there's a whole wing, the Ervis building. That's me.
Oh wow, okay.
Legacy.
So I think that I say that to say that we've been like, and I only realize it now in hindsight that, like, I was brought up in that very much like, okay, time to put on face. We're hosting. Someone's coming over the house. These people are actually, like, important people, come to find out. As a kid, we're just playing around on the floor or something.
Right.
But, like, the fact that there were always people at the house, sitting in conversation. Like, my grandfather was the type of guy, like, he was an artist, though. Like, his basement was, like, those type of walls. There was, like, tools, and he sketched, and he was a poet.
Wow.
And he painted. So, like, we just, like, we had this one wood sculpture in the house, and it was, like, it was very much into African, like, tales, like, just heritage, culture. So I say all that to say that the language, like, that's why my business is what it is, because it's out of that evolution. It is mine. It is my story. And I want it to be other people's story. Like, I want other people to have memories. Like, I got so excited. My nephew is of the oldest of all my nieces and nephews, and he was in my house the other day. I was babysitting, and he was like, they call me Auntie Lucy. He was like, Auntie Lucy, you remember that one time we were painting at La Cultura? And I was like, oh, they're gonna have these memories when they get older. Yeah. And
like, you are that aunt. Like, to my nephews too. Like, you're that aunt. Like,
what helped you to build the business? What is it that took it to the next level? Like, what understanding? Who? Like, what was it that's like?
Yo, because maybe it was because my grandfather, maybe it was what other people saw in me, but I always felt like people would seek me out and pour into me. They would, like, literally seek me out to pour into me. Shout out to Charlie White. Like, he would come and just sit with me and be like, no, you got this. Like, he would just share idea. I would tell him my idea. He'd be like, well, do it this way. Well, have you heard of this?
I gotta ask that.
I mean, low-key, no offense, Charlie. I would say, like, oh, he's like a nobody. But he's very low-key of a person. He used to work in the economic development department of the city of Harrisburg when Jackie Parker was there.
Okay.
I don't really shout out Jackie Parker, I guess, but Charlie was, he's a Black man. He's from North Carolina. He had construction background. He's a father, a husband, and he, like, that's literally all he was. Like, you know what I mean? He really was like a nobody. We met because I was working for the bank. He was working for the city of Harrisburg. He was trying to push the LERTA program, which is like a tax write-off for people who are investing in real estate. People are looking for loans from us, so it made sense that we were connecting. And honestly, it would happen around, people would see the injustices. I guess, like, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's really just, it's God. I think it's destiny. Whoever it is, it's like somebody else. It's not me. Somebody else is making this shit work and pulling the strings, because people would, like, another woman, shout out to Sheila Dalford. Okay. She is the head of Impact Harrisburg, which is the lending arm of the city of Harrisburg. She's in politics. I think she ran for an elected role at one time. She used to pour into me, and women like her, in positions like she is in, I don't know. And they would tell me how to do things. They would, like, almost like do it for me in some cases. Wow. And be like, here, put your name on it, or, you know what I mean? Like,
wow, that's amazing.
There were people like, my contract, when I opened the spot, this guy, I barely even know him. Like, I really honestly don't remember his name right now, but he's this attorney that's doing a lot of big things. He's a Sigma, he's Black, He was like, oh yeah, just got out of law school, you know, doing. He worked for some law firm, and I was like, oh, well, I'm starting this business, and I kind of need a contract. He literally just wrote the contract. He wouldn't charge me. I bought him a case of beer.
Wow.
I was like, does this work? He did it like pretty quickly.
Happening.
I was just like,
it's God.
Okay, I'll just
destiny.
And I still use that same contract.
Yo, that's crazy.
What else? Things like that, bro. Like,
they be miracles.
when I first got fired from the one job, it was something. It was unexpected. I wasn't expecting to get fired. It was really emotional for me because I really actually liked that job. I didn't want to get fired. I didn't want to quit. So that hurt. But literally like a week later, and this was for me and Reg, really, like we knew we had gone to lunch or dinner a couple times,
right.
But she literally called me out of the blue and was like, well, we heard what happened, and Robbie's gonna do your hair. We got an outfit for you. I'm gonna do your makeup. I'm gonna teach you how to do your makeup because you're gonna be on camera now probably a lot. And I'm just like, bitch, what? And she's like, yeah, we're gonna do headshots. You need new headshots. And I was just like,
This is why you had.
I had just gotten fired. I mean, not really. I had to me, it wasn't even a thing yet. Like La Cultura was. I got the LLC, and I was trying to rent out the space. I was doing the pop-ups, but
did you had the space at the time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it.
And the thing was, excuse me, I was actually hiding my face a lot because I was scared that they wouldn't be. That was the issue, the conflict of having my own company and working for the company I was working for. So when I got fired, I was just like, damn. I was really almost paralyzed, and I didn't know what to do. Other things were falling through at the time, and I really wasn't even focused. Like my first thought wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna just go with my business. That was not my thought. I was living in my mom's house.
Still, that was me too.
And so it really shook me up. She was like, well, you need
job.
headshots, and specifically for your business headshots. And I'm like, well, I didn't even think of it that way. I guess now that is what I am.
Wow.
That didn't get taken away yet.
Because we had a relationship.
So what year was this? What year was this?
2018.
20.
2018.
It was January 2019 is when I got fired.
So yeah, I mean, I saw that you got fired. We had a conversation about it.
It was kind of a big deal.
It was a big deal, and I think that when I saw you, I just knew, I knew that you needed that help. I knew just from our relationship prior to that, me even knowing you as kids, I know Elise, she needs help here. She needs to be able to get up and go, get up and have a look, get up and be on camera, get up and know exactly what she used to do with her face, her hair, her skin, all of those things. And I want that for you know what I mean? I wanted to see you glow and shine and be comfortable and look your best self on every platform that because you're about to go to higher heights, you know what I mean?
I was. See, people that, it was literally that. Small things like that where I'm just like, wow, that was transformative.
So, all right, listen, I'm thinking now. All right, so you get the spot in 2018? Is that when you got the location? Okay.
Yep.
But you still not running. You still not.
Right. It was the summer of 2018, so it was just about 6 months.
Okay.
The warm weathers were good for pop-ups, but then the winter hit.
Then it started to slow down.
I was in there with one other white lady who did paparazzi.
Right. So, all right.
She was like, "Can I get my money back?" I was like, "But we both sat here.
Yeah, we both were here, sis. Let's not do
together.
that.
I stayed with you.
You should have paid me.
Yeah, let's not do that. Let's not do more of that."
For real.
She has since blocked me, but.
So what? This is kind of what I was
on the journey.
That's kind of what I was trying to get to earlier. All right, so in that moment, all right, when September, October, November, December, when that joint hit, you're sitting there, right? Are you questioning? Should I be doing this?
Well, in December, no, because I still had a job, and because I was living in my mom's house, and life was kind of good.
Right, because you could still pay for it.
Life was really still good.
I
was like, I know I'm gonna have to pay for it up front. I knew that.
So in January,
first week
where
of January,
did your mind go?
Well,
because now you don't have the job,
right? That week, then I started. A couple people called me. Shout out to Mary Powell. That's another person. Mary Powell has definitely pulled me aside just simply to pour into me. She's an attorney, a business attorney.
Awesome.
And I remember her call, and a lot of people routed. That's why I brought up my grandfather's name. I'm not emotional because most people, like from her stance, that they're seeing me in that light. I know that a lot of people here with a historical understanding, they're gonna see me in that light,
Right.
and I see myself in that, right? Because that's my story, right? So she was like, you know what? She was like, we should do these type of events here. These are the type of people I want to start bringing to this region. You can do these things. Just like whether they're pouring into me ideas or the technical science of how to go about doing the idea. She, giving me little part-time gigs.
Ooh. So you was right place, right time. Like, it was just
I
happening.
guess, right? Like,
it was just...
very much so.
Okay.
So that happened. Then maybe a week later is when I got that call from Reg, and it's like, well, now you have a booking, sis. You have to go down.
Wow.
Oh shoot! I'm like, I guess.
That's dope.
Yes, that was a beautiful shoot too. Wow.
I still use it.
All right. So from January.
Yep, that's
January. I gotta hear this. All right. So from January.
I probably got the daycare job next.
Okay, so
I did not know you worked at a daycare.
Girl, I was not telling people. I was like an on-call type of person, or I had to work like a minimum amount of hours or something like that. It was the bare minimum. And I thought, kids, joy. They were like daycare age, like it was in the FIA building.
Yeah.
The facility a corporate entity owned the facility. So like they sent me off for training. I was like, this is okay. Like, I'm not dealing with shitty, annoying people. It's mostly kids that I'll be dealing with. Honestly, it wasn't that bad, but...
Is that embarrassing? To have to do that?
At the time, I just felt maybe shame. I felt like it was temporary either way. At the time, I was probably thinking that I was going to get another job, like get a full-time job. I just was getting that to have to not need a full-time job right away, just to be a little more patient. Like during that whole time, I was probably still looking at other jobs, applying to other jobs. I saw myself being like, a DIE, that had something diversity and equity somewhere. Mm-hmm. But it's like, damn, like nobody want me.
Right.
I wasn't getting barely no interviews. I wouldn't get past a round or two
because you weren't supposed to be there.
So what was next step?
So the next step was... So I went a whole year. So the whole time I'm living at my mom's, that's causing me stress.
Okay.
So that year I stayed at my mom's, and I did the little odd and end things to keep money flowing. Okay. But so my bills were really low. I was pretty taken care of in that sense, pretty privileged. And then I know that I went almost that whole 2019, and then in October 1st, I started at a bank, a traditional bank. And that was honestly like God again, because why did I have an interview with this white lady? Mind you, women working in banks as the manager, the actual manager is Ritter. And I walk in and there's a black girl teller, and I can tell she's not from here, like she's an accent. I'm like, hey. And then there's another white girl, like, she went to state CD. And she's like a fitness person. So, we're out, it's all girls.
Right.
They're in these cute ass little suits. Wow. Yeah, and I'm like, I'm here. And she loved me. Like my Nikki, shout out to Nikki Parada. She's now with Fulton on Union Plaza, and shout out Key and Ashley. Shout out to the gang. So the whole time I'm working at that branch, it's only women. And we could come and talk about our periods. When one girl would get sick on her period, so we all respected her need to just be out the way and still come in and get her hours. You know what I mean? Like
it's a little thing. Women environment. Working.
It was different. I've never, and for it to be such a small knit, like it's not like you're dealing with a bunch of people, because then you're more likely to just be by yourself anyways. But it was just 4 or 5 of us, and we were very close. It lasted exactly 12 months, because the next October was COVID and George Floyd. 2020. Yes. Glad you're keeping track. Yeah, okay. Yes.
October 2020.
So.
Yeah. You're going to say that. 12 months. October.
Right.
October 2020.
Yeah, so I was really cool. Nikki would let me leave early on third Fridays. Like, that was my biggest thing, that someone, like, she wanted my business to thrive while I was there. And she said, she saw the value, and she made the connection. She would put me in rooms and speak on me. Like, she did so much for me. I thought I was going to be good. I saw myself becoming the small business, like, I was a small business banker at the branch level, but I saw myself becoming the regional business banker. I was looking into those roles. But then when COVID hit, it was really actually traumatic. Nikki comes in, and in the branch, you always do these like team meetings right before the day starts. Nikki comes in, next thing you know, she loses it and just starts bawling. And we're all like, oh my God, are your kids okay? What's happening? Come to find out, like a week or two later, Ashley had to get fired or something like that because of whatever the higher ups were saying. But she had just had a baby. There was all these like women related things, and it was like, wow, like banks, like they tried to say it was so the way banks work,
they're not progressive.
They're very much sales. They're very much goal oriented, and they can easily say, well, you didn't meet your sales goal, and it's like, oh, so what? Like, so what? Y'all made y'all goals? Like, y'all good? And I worked my hours. I'm showing up on time. Like, she was an all-star employee. So Nikki was distraught. And, you know, she was showing us how hard she was going to bat for Ashley to not have to make that decision. Like, but because they made her make that decision, she quit literally within the next month. She was like, I'm not, she told them, if you make me do this, you're gonna lose me, and I'm like your best like regional manager in the area.
Whoa, okay.
So,
integrity, I like
real
it.
quick,
Okay.
word, yeah, right. I fuck with Nikki.
I ride for my gang.
That's what's
gang.
Yes.
And we need more of that.
Yes,
we talk about the progressive woman. We talk about the updated woman. I'm done working with outdated women.
Yes,
I'm done
because then it was the race protesting and stuff was going on, right?
Gotcha.
Citizens, the banks in Philly were getting firebombed, and you know, shit like that. Like you know, people were throwing fires. It was crazy in the bigger cities, right? And I remember inside, like in our branch, but it's just us. We don't even have customers, so we're very much like talking about everything.
Right.
And it's 2 black women, 2 white women, and the white women, you know, I have a way of articulating race-relating things better than I guess the average black person, right? We don't necessarily know how to articulate our own traumas,
right?
But because of my background, I do better.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit more experienced in that. So they kept looking to me to explain why things were happening the way they were happening.
The white people, the black people?
Yeah, the 2 white colleagues.
Okay.
But she was trying to almost encourage it and create a way to like standardize that so that it could still go on when she left, because she knew she was leaving. She was trying to push it up higher up, so she called like this corporate guy, the corporate of marketing, to come and talk to me. And he comes and sits me down, and he's like the head of the department, like the region. And he's like, I want to ask you something. So it's just me and him. He was like, yeah. So he was like, I knew what was happening, but the first thing out of his mouth was, so have you ever experienced racism? I was like, wait.
Is that a real?
Like in my head, like I don't know what my face looked like, but I'm like, oh nah. We're not about to do this. Fuck. I guess, yes. Like, have you not? You don't. What do you mean? Like, what's happening right now? I'm experiencing it the way you're experiencing it too. So
you're doing
how are you so disconnected?
Right.
And you're the main one having to say yes or no to everything. And you know how banks are. Everyone says yes or no. Like, you can't just do things in a bank. Everyone's doing the exact same things, exact same way. We're wearing the same fucking colors.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so when Nikki left, we were out without a manager, so we were sending these imbeciles to our branch to try to run it. And I'm just like, oh hell no. This is not how we do it here. These are not how things were run here. Banks are sketchy, bro. And then I saw it. I saw why people don't like going to banks and saying things, giving them their information, asking for things. No, a lot of those bankers, I would never deal with a lot of those bankers as the client.
Yeah.
Never. They should all be fired.
Right.
So then they hired this new. It was just so many layers of wrongness that on a Monday I gave them my 2 weeks, and Thursday I told her I'm not coming back on Friday. And they begged for me to at least come back Friday because that's how much they were losing control of the situation.
Right.
So that was October of 2020.
Okay.
We're in not even October 2022. So. Wait, no, 2020. Damn, 2021. We are in 2020. Okay, so
2021. That thing
it's just a blur.
I'm getting lost myself.
What happened in 2021?
So we're in October 2022. All right, so we're going into 2021.
Yes, yep. So October 2020. You know, things are at a height with people in the streets.
You left the job in October.
I quit the job. Up and quit.
Okay. Money's going. Now everybody's getting the checks.
I had already moved into my own apartment by then.
Okay.
So I do have rent now.
You have rent.
At the time, I had a girlfriend. I had a friend living in my apartment with me though.
Okay.
So that was softening the blow.
Absolutely.
And maybe that was October.
That was when like La Cultura became, I would say, an
Then we started
underground.
doing- yes.
Yeah, we started doing underground stuff.
Okay, what's that mean?
Shelly was on board. Shelly, if you're nasty,
Okay.
you gotta get her in here.
I don't know what that is. Shelly,
Shelly, if you're nasty, Rochelle Thomas.
This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna write some stuff down.
Got the notebook on day.
Absolutely.
It's
I
this
actually had a
2-hour
like
episode
thing I was
for
gonna
me.
talk. This probably is gonna be long. I'm trying to speed it up, but I don't think.
Do you just upload it to YouTube? Do you chop it up at all?
I chop it up.
Okay.
Yeah. It's probably gonna be in parts, honestly,
Okay, cool. I'm excited for it.
because I don't see me putting up.
This is good shit, though.
Shelly, if you nasty.
Shelly, if
Yeah.
you're nasty.
Is it S or C?
If yeah,
S or let's see.
S-H.
Okay. Shelly, if you nasty.
She's an artist extraordinaire.
She's here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to get more tapped in with people. This is why I'm doing this stuff. Hey.
Word. Same
Shelly,
here.
So it became an underground, like it became a nice little spot, like a spot where you could find the Black creatives, and when everything was shut down, everything was closed, you could bank on La Cultura being open.
Oh, so this is when everything was supposed to be closed.
Don't do it like
No,
that.
we did it too. No, we did it too.
Yeah.
Listen. When everything was shut down, we was still going.
Popping.
Man, listen.
Popping.
We got a spot here. Man, listen. No,
Popping.
this wasn't here yet. We just had the spot down there, I believe. But like you said, we got stuff to pay.
And you know what I want to say about that period of time is what happened was the dollar shifted, right? People had to stop, could no longer spend outside their communities. They had to then spend inside the community.
They had
That is
to.
very true.
They had to.
That's what disruption
So we
happened.
did grow.
Yes, that's why
Very
most Black and brown
much.
people you're gonna talk to, they're like, well, shit, I came up during COVID.
Absolutely.
Most niggas gonna be like,
Because
we
we
came
were-
up.
Yeah, we came the
forced.
fuck up. We did.
That is very true. You know, that time period is kind of a blur to me now. But everything
It
was shut
down. Yeah, shut down.
It's crazy. Like it seemed like it was so long ago, but it wasn't that long. You know,
So people
Everything
had
was
to
shut
spend
down.
their dollars within the community.
Yeah, that was a good time. Okay, so let's talk about it. All right, so everything.
Right.
So that happened.
Yeah, we were doing open mic nights every month.
Okay.
And we were doing open mic nights every month, but it would just be the artists.
Mm.
So, you know, they might bring their +1 or something, you know, it'd be 420 real friendly.
Yeah.
And we had the wall that separated the joints, so in the middle room was like this, right? The lights and the
Vibing.
cameras. So you were really just on stage. Like, what do they call those things in like a small box theater or something like that? That was like the energy. Kind of like,
I know what you mean.
Okay, yeah.
Mhm.
So then it was such a vibe. We would do it live. People would Cash App who they wanted to win. Like, you would send $1 for the person you wanted to vote for, and then the pot, the winner, whoever with the most votes with the pot, right? So I was coming up with creative ways to try to keep the money
That's
flowing.
Money flowing in the middle. And then also just the creativity that was flowing through there, a place for entrepreneurs to co-work even still in the middle of COVID, like with stuff shut down. We, like you said, we still had to figure out how to make things work, how to make it pop. And having ideas, like we constantly were just bouncing ideas, like what about this? What about this? And do you think of doing it like that?
I forget who first. I don't know who put me on to the idea of doing the pop-ups outside, but that hit, right? Because inside, I was excited to max out at 10 vendors. Outside, which didn't cost me to rent, to tell them to come bring little cones. What it cost me was relationship with the neighbors. That's when the cops started coming.
Right. That's what I was about to ask you.
So we was so lit and joyful. We celebrated Juneteenth. That was the biggest. Like, she was like,
Woo!
fucking nuts. I wish I had a videographer that day to have seen the type of crowd we did. But we could max at 50 vendors. So that was different. Right? And by then, niggas was really showing up. Like, people still see me out. Is there a pop-up? You know, is there gonna be a pop-up? And it's like, that's good. That's what that was perfect. So now it's like, okay, how can I capitalize on that happening, right? People would be asking me for coaching and like a specific, can you help me with this? And I'm like, I don't do that. So I don't do that. I don't have a product. I don't know how to charge you for that yet.
Right.
So,
and this is 2021 now?
I'm getting to 2020. So let's see. 2020 was a success, right? After that, it was like everything felt right.
Right.
Everything felt like, wow, this is another like breakthrough.
Moving.
Word.
Right.
So we get
outside
through.
one
Rent is
part-
getting taken care of.
Okay.
We're splitting it. So I only really have to barely break cash. You know what I mean? Like, I'm good.
Yeah.
So we get to the end of 2020. and 2021 pulls up. 2021.
This is before the outside pop-ups, right?
I did outside all the warm months of that year. We did outside.
That's 2020.
2020.
Okay.
2020 we were lit outside. We was outside.
We was outside. Couldn't be inside, but you can be outside with a mask on.
Okay. So cold months are going by. The job ends. 2021 comes up. Now what's next?
So in 2021 in February, Kaylin died.
That's your friend?
Yes.
Okay.
K Slay. And that was a big disruption for me. I felt like everything blew up. So when that happened in February, me and my roommate, she moved out maybe 3 months later. But thank God, like again.
It's like May?
Yeah, let's say May. I think it was actually May. And literally within the same time frame, my best friend's cousin, who's also a really close friend of mine, hit me up. She wanted to use the space, the room. I have an apartment that's, it can work that way. So I didn't go a month without someone else paying half the rent.
Wow. So at the time you're not working?
Nope.
You're not. Okay. So got you.
This is the period of the first 12 months of full-time entrepreneur again.
Got you.
Right. I hit up from October of 2019. October I quit. Right. So the whole 2020. That was a whole solid year. That October 2020 was my first 12 months that I was.
So 2020 and 2021. Okay.
So 2021, aka last year.
So what? All right. In that time period, it is okay. So 2020, you're doing outside pop-ups.
Yeah. Yep.
Job ends.
Yep.
Your friend went through the tragedy.
So I started doing Masterclasses in the fall.
Okay.
That was the first time I did a Masterclass.
This is 2021?
The fall of 2020.
Okay, so
fall of 2020, we host our first Masterclass.
Okay.
We do 3 or 4 consecutive ones, and we're doing them in-house. And in-house, I mean the people that I'm intimately working with. At this point, all my friends are business owners. We all try and come up. We all doing, this energy,
my mom
right?
asked the other day, can you find me somebody to work for me? I said, Ma, all my friends are business owners.
Yeah, you need a contract? You need a service provider?
I literally have no one that would have a job right now.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone.
So is this masterclass? Tell me about the masterclass, the first one you did.
Shelly did How to Sell Yourself. So she's an artist, and we were talking about that whole time with those open mics. We had just finished 12 consecutive months of an open mic every month.
Okay.
And the idea is that these entrepreneurs, they need to practice their craft, right? They need to practice being on stage, practice mic, hand, feet coordination, whatever, all those things. They're putting out their music, they're practicing and keeping with the lyrics and all that stuff, right? Yeah. And those were really good days, man.
You niggas can't be serious right now. But if you don't understand, I guess I'll just let you know what it is real quick. You heard? Young nigga came from the bottom, right? Black. Ask all my niggas, I been towing straps. Eating the food since was raised off the snap. Section 8, all of my bitches get that. You fucked up, you better go move you some pack. Check on them numbers like UPS track. Stay out them strippers' face, don't fuck with that. They fucking for money, they fucking for gas. This is the world that we live in black. Most of these bitches, they live on their back. How I'm supposed to raise a daughter like that? Asking my BM, I see it, she mad. I pull out the Porsche, I just bought you a Jag. You frontin' so hard cause your new nigga sad. Broke as a bitch and he weak as a cat. Came up from trapping, my flipping them packs. Now I be splashing, I don't need part that. Young nigga wavy is free Willie back. Got me 2 pistols, you need you a strap. I'm from uptown, do you need you a map? Trapping so hard that a nigga got pinched. 12 on my ass like I wanted to lynch. They found one bundle, I took most of it. Ape in the jungle, supreme in this bitch. London and Philly, we been with this shit. We been with this shit. The set mobbing, the different ain't lit. The different ain't lit. Batman and Robin.